Hi, this is Rob Kramars, founder, president of IntelliVersity with you, with Live It 365, the two co-founders, Jeff Godwin, president and CEO, two titles, and Dr. Bill Barnett, who is the co-founder and chief science officer of Live It 365. I want to remind you, we're going to, as we take a deeper dive into what's working and not working in raising investment dollars, I just want to remind you this is not an offer to sell you securities or stock. It's not a solicitation for you to buy anything. This is a training video for entrepreneurs and investors so that we can all learn something more about how to make this funding process work. And as you probably know, theoretically, investors say, we all say, we prefer to invest in the team more than the technology, the people more than the product, right? We want to invest in an A team with a B product is better than a B team with an A product, because the A team will find a way to make it. They'll discover sooner or later they've got a B product, and they'll make it an A product. It's very interesting. I'll come back to this shortly. Some research we did just this week with venture capital firms about how they evaluate investors, the management team. We'll come back to that. What I want to ask you guys is, what is it about your team that you think investors should like? And what makes you guys stand out?
I can answer that very simply. We have a well-rounded team. Mm-hmm. The team job descriptions don't overlap. Mm-hmm. I knew early on that investors would prefer a high-level management team. So when I recruited Dr. Barnett, Dr. Royal, and Tracy, mm-hmm. It makes for a wonderful marriage because I'm the finance guy, I'm the CPA. Mm-hmm. Nobody else on the team will ever tell me how to create a financial statement or cash flow analysis. Our doctors do all the formulations. Mm-hmm. We match the task with the skill set. Tracy is a very robust resume specific to the nutraceutical industry, mm-hmm. and we let Tracy do what she does best.
Which is
she's the marketing expert. Yeah. So we have a well-rounded team. We respect each other immensely, and our job descriptions don't overlap. Would you agree with that?
I'd have to agree completely. I also think that what investors are hoping to find in a management group is individuals that are honest, have integrity, are professionals, have experience in their specific fields. I've had over 30 years experience in formulation and running two nutritional companies. Mm-hmm. Jeff has got extensive experience in managing people and finances and being able to optimally manage a company. Tracy is just wonderful in her years of expertise in marketing in a very specific niche. Dr. Royal, again, one of the top physicians in the country, actually is the physician for Donnie and Marie Osmond, and is an entrepreneur in and of himself and deals with a lot of nutraceutical type products. So we've put together, I think, a team that works well together because we all have our own areas of expertise. We don't overlap tremendously. Right. Jeff's a good leader in that he's energetic, he's attentive to detail, he keeps us all on track. And those are the sort of the things that if I was an investor looking to put money into a company, I'd be looking at a management team for those things.
You said something very interesting about keeping you all on track. I want to come back to that in just a moment because you smile, but that's something very, very important. Before I get to that, did you two know each other before you started this? Before you were recruited in this company, how did you know it?
No, we have a mutual friend that actually is in the nutraceutical industry. Mm-hmm. I'm very close to this man. I go to church with him every Sunday, and when he saw a need that I had, he immediately introduced me to Dr. Barnett, and we were off and running.
How long ago was it?
It's about 1.5 years ago.
Okay.
This same individual was a business partner of mine in a previous venture, and I've known him
Now, do you go to the same church? Do you have the same?
No.
There's not that kind of connection.
Well, I go to the same church as this mutual friend of
Right,
ours,
right,
and
right,
so
right.
I got to know, I've known him for years through church, and ironically, I mean, if you believe in coincidence, I'm not a man that believes in coincidence, but if you believe in coincidence, I'm going to the church with a man that's in the nutraceutical industry when I'm launching this company that has done business with Dr. Barnett, so it was, you know.
So there comes a point in every relationship, since you're new to each other, where you decide you can trust each other.
Mhm.
Because there's always that period of testing.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you take a moment and tell our audience how you decided that you could trust each other. At what point?
Well, I think you said it very well. It takes time. It doesn't happen from day one. But my observations of Dr. Barnett are not only his dealings with me personally, but his dealings with other people. Okay, so the way he conducts himself in business, the way he treats other people, and just time passing has built that trust.
And
I also look for who an individual associates with,
okay.
both in business and in their personal life.
Okay.
And the very first meeting that I had with Jeff, there were two other individuals that he had brought into the company
Right.
that we sat across the table and literally for 2 hours enjoyed each other's conversation. And it wasn't one of those I've done this and you've done that sort of stories. It was really getting to know each other. And we had 2 or 3 meetings over almost a 4-month period before I accepted what Jeff was offering. And I made sure that I did all the due diligence that I could possibly do as far as what did he really want to do with this company? Was it in line with the things that I thought the company would be successful for? And so trust is built over time, but it's something that can be determined quite rapidly if you actually take the time to get to know people.
Understood. As you raised an issue earlier, I want to return to this because one of the things we discovered in working with venture capital firms is that they're very, well, I'm involved in venture capital, are very concerned with milestones. It's very important that things track to a certain target. They never do. So one of the interesting results we found in surveying VCs is that when we asked them how many companies, what percentage of the companies you've invested in had near-death experiences before they became profitable or before they were exited, what do you suppose the answer was? The answer was 100%. There was, without exception, every single company had a near-death, at least one near-death experience, meaning they nearly went broke and had to be almost disbanded before they became successful. Every single one. And of course, at that point, there's a pivot, and something big has to change. Usually, there's more than one such point in the history of every successful entrepreneur. So, so one question is, how do you keep your team on track so that you do meet your milestones? And the second question is, no matter what you do, you're going to fall off the track. 100% fall off the track. So when that happens, how do you know that you can count on your team to get up, reformulate the business plan or business model, and get back on the track? Now we're going to take a break in a moment. I just want to get a brief answer to the first question: is how do you? These are very sophisticated, successful people on your team.
Right.
How do you keep them on track?
Well, and the reason you saw me smiling is because
it's not easy.
I'm dealing with high-level talent. I'm
Right.
dealing with the 2 doctors that are very busy. Dr. Dan Royal has his own medical clinic in Las Vegas,
Right.
and it's hopping there. Bill and I have been there more than once, and and Tracy, she's a very, very busy lady. So what I do is I structure, and maybe it's my CPA background. We were trained to be very organized, to the detail. We have weekly Skype meetings, and we all know, 8:30 Tuesday morning, we're online together. And I send them an agenda 24 hours in advance, and then I send them a recap of the meeting 24 hours later. And maybe that's just me, but my style is keep everybody on track. I document what we're going to talk about. I document our task, and then and then we delegate. And as far as accountability, which is a word I thought you were going to say, that I think is an important word, is that these members of my team, okay, they're only on my team because they can work independently. They don't need me looking over their shoulder. They don't need me prodding them. If they did, they wouldn't be on my team to begin with. And so we have our weekly Skype meetings. Sometimes we have face-to-face. Sometimes we have meetings, lunch meetings and dinner meetings. But you know, we keep on track by weekly meetings. As far as a pivotal point, the second part of your question.
Well, hold that. How are we doing
Okay.
on time?
We're kind of low. We got like 15 seconds.
Okay, so that's a
Okay.
very good point. So we're going to get back to the pivot that you've experienced, and we're going to take a deeper dive into exactly what can be learned from their experience in raising funds so far. This is IntelliVersity with Live It 365. We'll be back in just a minute.